This video, I'm going to be showing you how to make $100 a day trading stocks on the Webull app. So the Webull is the platform that I personally use. And for the past 3 months or so now, I've been averaging anywhere from that $100 to $500 per day range, just trading stocks through the Webull app. So in this video, I'm going to be breaking down my 5-step process that I use before I take every single trade. This is the exact system I use, so you can model this for yourself. You can change it up a little bit for your own trading style. But in this video, I'm going to be showing you how I personally take a trade, what I look for before I trade, everything you need to know to start making money trading stocks, specifically with the Webull app. Okay, as you can see, I'm on the Webull platform, and I personally mainly trade the NASDAQ market. I do a few swings here and there, but this is how I trade, right? So really what I do is, you can, look at the basics, the supply and demand levels, support and resistance levels, right? Whatever you want to call it. But I personally, I don't just try to pay attention to that. I really try to follow a 5-step system before I take every trade. This is especially helpful if you have bad risk management or maybe you just overtrade. Whatever it is, it's important to have rules. It's important to have a system that you follow. And even if you see a good opportunity for a trade, right, if it doesn't follow your system, you're not going to trade. It all comes down to the discipline at the end of the day. So anyways, what I'm going to do is basically when I trade stocks in the morning, pretty much every day, I'm looking at this sticky notepad I have on my computer, right? So I just keep this notepad on my computer at all times when I'm trading. First thing I do is I look at this over the day, right? So literally while I'm staring at the chart, I'll go through each step of the system to make sure that I'm actually doing the right things when I'm taking a trade. I'm not thinking too emotionally and I'm following my rules, right? So let me actually just move this to the middle more. And, I'm just going to read off some of the things that I look at when I go to take a trade, which ultimately helps me make that $100 per day mark, which I'm sure a lot of you are trying to do if you're watching this video. So anyways, the first thing I look at is, you have to treat trading like a poker game. If you ever played poker, you kind of know how it goes, right? You'll get dealt a bad hand and, sometimes you'll risk it and play and then you'll lose, some money. But obviously, if you're a good poker trader, you're not going to look at it like that. You're going to only take high probability trade. You're going to make sure you have risk management. You're going to make sure you have good position sizing. So what does all this mean, right? So for high probability, what this basically means is, if I have a 19, then sure, that's a high probability that I have a good hand. That's the first thing. Second thing is risk management. If I have a bad hand, maybe I have a 7, a 4, and a 3, that should probably tell you that you shouldn't even play that game. You should say I'm out. Same thing with trading. If you have a bad setup, if you have a bad probability, right, you're just going to sit out cash. You're not going to trade that day, right? That's what you have to do as a trader. That's risk management. Next thing is position sizing. If we have a full 21, we have a perfect hand in poker, we're probably going to go all in, right? Because no one can probably beat you. Same thing with trading. If you have a low probability trade, right, I'm probably going to trade with less money just because there is more risk involved. So that's the first thing I remind myself every morning when I go to take my trades. Now, this is the actual system I follow. Like I said, it's basically 5 steps. And the first kind of thing I tell myself is only trade direction of the market open. So I basically look at 3 things when I'm wanting to trade, but we'll get into that in just a second. So let's go to yesterday, let's go to yesterday. And as you can see, this is just the NASDAQ market. So if we're opening up yesterday, as we can see, we kind of sold off. And during, after market and pre-market, we were basically, trending upwards this whole entire pre-market. So what I would do is I would look at my system like, okay, I'm more likely to, be bullish and trade for the upside, right? So I would look at these 3 things when I'm actually trading. So I'd first look at an opening drive. So this basically just means, whatever the direction is that it traded all pre-market and it's kind of heading towards, there's a good chance that it'll continue to go up right when the market opens, because obviously the market's more volatile right when the market opens. So as we can see, this is a trade I take all the time. It's called the opening drive play. And as you can see, it sold off a little bit to the support line. I already had this written out. And this is where I would potentially take a trade for that opening drive. As you can see, it gapped up massively to this next resistance mark and actually went perfectly to where we closed the market the day beforehand, right? It literally sold off right there. But anyways, that's the first kind of trade I'll take. The next kind of trade is a trend pullback to a 5-minute EMA. which basically just means it's making higher lows, right? So I'm gonna give you an example of this. On this day, there's nothing I could really take for that kind of trade. So if we go back the previous day, as you can see, if I wanted to take a short position, for example, I can trade SQQQ. It goes up when the NASDAQ market goes down. As you can see, right when we hit these 5-minute EMAs, we sold off. We did again. As you can see, we made a lower high. We sold off. So that's where, I look at my position. I'd be like, okay, the trend is downwards, right? We can see it's clearly selling off. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to, short the puts, right? So whenever we go up and touch this 5-minute EMA, we're still making that lower high. And as you can see, when we hit that first 5-minute EMA, we sold off a little bit. We hit it again. We sold off a little bit. We hit it again. We sold off. This is a little bit of a choppy day, so probably not the best example, but that's the next type of trade I do. Like I said, there's only 3 trades I do. That's the second one. I just try to keep it really simple and try to master these 3 kinds of trades. The next one is macro supply and demand levels. So basically what this means is what are the big support and resistance levels on the bigger time frames, right? On the daily time frame. And this is where I have those yellow lines written out. As you can see, I've had these yellow lines, written down for the past month or so. And it's kind of just been trading in those ranges, right? So as you can see, for example, on this day, we had that uptrend. We had this opening drive play, right? So this would have been like my first trade for the day. And then once we got to this level, that's where I consider taking a short position because as you can see, it literally hit that level to a T and it sold off for the rest of the day back to where we opened originally. And then what we do, we test that 5-minute EMA. That's the second type of trade I took. And then we sold off to that support level. And then boom, we bounced off of it, right? And we went back up to that big resistance level, right? So that's the third kind of trade I take is I look for those morning reversals. I just look for the reversals on those big macro time frames where there's a lot of support and resistance, a lot of supply and demand, and I just look for those. And again, I want to stress this enough, make sure you look at the big time frame, not the little support and resistance levels, the one where it has months and months of history of, support and resistance there. All right, so that's the first kind of thing I look for is when I'm actually taking a trade. Then I actually, I'll write down, what levels I'm watching for the day. So specifically what support and resistance areas. So, I could say something I'm watching 286 for a bounce. So this is like this 286 level. As you can see, there's plenty of bounce opportunities that happened when the price got to that 286 level. So that's the next thing is I kind of just write down my support and resistance levels. And then, once you're actually ready to take a trade, you know which kind of trade you're doing. So let's say we're doing opening drive. We know our levels we're watching for. Now we're going to take the entry. This is the third step of the system. And what I do is I set up a half entry on ranges and price levels. So for example, if I wanted to take this, this bounce trade where we hit this 286, right? What I would do is, as you can see, we sold off like all the way to this 285. So just because I have this yellow line here doesn't mean it's going to stop there and go up perfectly to a T. Trading doesn't work like that. It could always, fall short of this, or it could fall more of this like it did right here. But again, it was only there for less than a couple minutes, right? So what I would do kind of to solve that problem is I do a half entry on ranges and price levels. Then I do a second entry on confirmations, right? So let's say you're trading with $10,000. You're trying to make that $100 per day mark. Awesome. What I would do here is once it gets to my level, so once it gets to 286, I would buy $5,000 if I'm looking for a bounce. And then once we have a confirmation, so basically like right here, it kind of went up and then we pulled back and then we're going up again. Once we broke out of this range at that 286.63 level, that's where I would go and take another $5,000 position. And now I have that $10,000 total. And that's basically, the confirmation I need to know that the price will probably end up going, up to at least this level, which ended up being a nice, $2 or $3 move that easily would have made you $100 on that $10,000 position that you actually took, right? So that's kind of the third thing I look for. The next, super important thing is to look at your exit, right? So your exit is just as important as your entry. A big mistake I would make, when I first started trading is I would see green profit right away and I would sell, right? But you can't do that. You have to maximize your profit because, you're not going to win every trade. So if you're only winning half your trades and your losers are bigger than your winners, then you're not going to make much money. But on the flip side, if you're winning half your trades, right? So half your trades work out, half the trades don't, but your winners are bigger than your losers, then you're still going to be profitable. You're still going to make money, right? So that's where we try to really maximize how much money we can make off each trade and really minimize, our losses, right? So we have to cut losses pretty quickly. And that's, again, another reason why I only do a half entry when I'm first entering, just to make sure if that trade does go south, I have a lower position size, right? Same thing going back to that poker example. So exit, same thing. I do a half exit on ranges and price levels. So for this case scenario, I probably would have sold half at this little resistance level. We had it in the pre-market, so I sold half here. And then basically I'd wait for a confirmation that the price is going down. So this right here probably would have been my confirmation just because we started to sell off. So I probably would have got out on my second exit right there, right? And that would have been a really good trade. It really would have been a profitable trade that I would have been happy with. And I always make sure to set down a target as well. So the fifth thing to my system, this is after I'm done trading for the day, is I'll journal and recap all my trades. So I'll look at, maybe I took 2 trades for the day. I'll look at my entries, I'll look at my exits, I'll review them, I'll make sure they follow the system, I'll make sure I'm on track, I recap them, I review how good the trades are, 1 out of 5. If it was a really good trade, I would rate it 5 out of 5. If it was an okay trade, I would rate it 3 out of 5, right? And I just do that every single day inside my journal, and it helps you become a better trader. So anyways, guys, that is my 5-step system for making $100 per day on the Trading Webull app. If you want to use the same exact system for yourself, feel free to. Just make sure that you put your own spin on it for your own trading style, because again, everyone is going to be a little bit different. So that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, all I ask you to drop a like and subscribe if you're new. Let me know you want more videos like this. That being said, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in my next video.